Today, I'm joined by Jo-Anne McLean to talk about her new book, Bloodmark, that came out yesterday. So to start, would you be able to tell me a little bit about the book?
Absolutely. Bloodmark is the story of Jane Walker. Jane is born with a string of blood red birthmarks around her body that define a lot of her childhood. So she's ostracized and she is bullied. And so she is absolutely thrilled when, as an adult, one by one, these birthmarks start to disappear. That is, until she finds out that she's being stalked by a killer. And those marks are the only thing that keep her from him.
And so then what were some of the inspirations or what gave you some of the ideas for this book?
The idea for the story came up from initially it was the opening scene from a show called Blind Spot, where a woman is dumped in a duffel bag in Times Square and the police think it's a bomb, and they open this duffel bag and out pops this woman, and she is tattooed from the neck down and doesn't remember where she got the tattoos from or how she got them or why she has them. And that got my mind ticking, and so that was the start of it. And then I wove in issues of beauty and family to turn it into a very dark, mysterious paranormal thriller.
And so how long were you initially writing this book between initially starting and then editing to the finish?
This one's been well over a year. It's taken a while. COVID slowed me down. I had a couple of months where I had difficulty concentrating on being creative, but the story came to me in layers. So I had the initial idea or the initial inspiration back when I saw that first scene, which was a few years ago, and then the ideas just started trickling in. So it takes a while to get the whole story idea down. But once it's down, you start to write. Once I start to write, it's about a year from start to finish, including about 3 or 4 months of editing.
And so you had mentioned that COVID did have some impacts on your writing. How did it affect you?
I'm full-time writing, so I've always been full-time writing. It's that the enormity of it really shocked me. My husband and I just come home from a holiday, and we were driving up the coast in March, just as everything was shutting down. And never having been through anything like this before, I was glued to the news. And I found that after 10 or 15 minutes of writing, I would lose my train of thought and want to get the TV on and find out what was going on around the world as people were getting sick and dying. I just found it disturbing, and it cramped my creativity for a long time.
And so then will there be more books to come out as a part of the series for this one?
I certainly hope so. I've started on an outline for the second book in the series. There are lots of avenues I still can explore with these characters and with this particular plot line. And so, yes, there will definitely be a second. Whether there's a third, I'm not yet sure. I won't know until I'm about halfway through the second, but it looks promising.
So then what has been some of the feedback that you've gotten and the reviews that you've received thus far?
The reviews are fantastic. The feedback is wonderful. People are surprised by the ending. There are twists and turns that they don't see coming, which is wonderful to read in a review. And people are calling it anything from a paranormal, supernatural, mystery, even romance. There's very little romance in it, but some people are finding that quite appealing. So I'm loving the reviews that are coming in on it.
Then I guess what would you sort of maybe characterize the book as? Would it be like a drama thriller, or then what's sort of your target demographic for this book?
I would say my definition is a supernatural thriller. So I think it appeals to people who like thrillers with a little bit something different in it. And I think it also appeals to anyone who likes the supernatural or paranormal. Urban fantasy is what my first series was. And this is tightly related to that, closely related to that.
That's all the questions I have. Is there anything else that you'd like to add about the book?
Yes, if anyone wants to read the first chapter, it's available on my website for download in PDF form at jpmcleanauthor.com.
That's great. Thank you for taking the time.